On Issues and Insiders today, we speak to a pianist, composer, and YouTuber for her take on connecting classical music with a wider audience through social media. Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Issues and Insiders. I'm Min Sunhee. Today I have the pleasure of speaking to a popular YouTuber known for her musical endeavors aimed at bringing classical piano pieces to a broader base of listeners. I have Hwang Gi-Young, better known as Nahre Sol, live on the line. Welcome to the show, Nahre.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Right, Nahre, when and how did you stop playing the piano?
I started around 7 years old for a simple reason. My parents bought a piano, an upright, brought it into the home, and apparently I went there and I started tinkering on the keyboard, and I think my parents recognized that I showed interest, and then it all started from there.
Did you start taking private lessons then? From a young age?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Right. Was there a particular moment, Nahre, or an event that led to your decision to actually major in piano in college?
I think throughout high school, I remember there were some years where I was paying attention to every activity that I was doing, just mainly looking at different things in school, classes, recreational activities, and asked myself, what do I enjoy the most? And what can I see myself doing for decades? And the answer continuously was music.
Right. Nahre, could you walk us a bit through your academic pursuits, leading up to, of course, your current professional pursuits?
I went to college first at the Juilliard School for piano performance. Then I studied this independent program with a grant in Paris, studying harmony and also piano. Then I did an artist diploma at the Glenn Gould Conservatory in Canada. And now here I am pursuing music in a slightly, maybe non-conventional way.
Right, non-conventional, but we're happy, of course, to have you in that way because we get to listen to classical music, piano pieces in a different light. Nahre, with regard to your education at one of the world's leading music schools, if I may, what would you say were some of the important lessons that you learned there?
Well, there were a lot. So many things that I learned in school are having to do with pushing the quality of the music really high, keeping the standards high, learning so much about music history. But if I were to maybe pinpoint two that are so important is learning how to focus under pressure was something that I learned in school and that I carry with me. And also understanding how to receive feedback and being proactive about asking your colleagues and your professors for feedback. Because I think you can easily go to school and be very passive and not learn as much. So I think that's very important.
Nahre, with regard to working under pressure, do you have any tips?
I do, maybe. I think it's best not to take yourself too seriously. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in this perfectionist mentality, thinking that you have to be the best or strive for perfection and things like that. And that just adds many layers of stress psychologically. And I think that affects what you need to focus on, which in my case is music, the craft, if I'm making a video, the actual video. So a little bit of pressure is good, but I think just to focus more on the task at hand is important.
And Nahre, tell us a bit about taking a proactive approach in college, because I have a college student daughter, and we frequently, my husband and I do tell her, try to knock on the doors of professors to ask them questions if you have any. It's really easier said than done, she says. What do you say?
I think it's really becoming comfortable wording something that you're confused about or you're not sure about. I think at that age, especially, I remember hesitating to show that I don't know something or show that I'm incompetent at something. But the whole point in that environment at that age is to, you know, crack at all of the little doors and the little areas where you feel lost, and just to express that. It doesn't have to be an elaborate and elegant question, just expressing without shyness to your professors, to your colleagues, just, hey, I don't quite understand this. Could you explain it a little more? And also asking for specific feedback, because a lot of classes, they teach you things in a general way, and it's hard to get feedback about your specific work.
Nahre, also with regard to your academic experiences, what was it like being surrounded by so many talented people?
It's very humbling, and I'm glad I experienced that, because from a very young age, I realized that, wow, there's so much great talent around me, and I'm lucky to be in this space somehow. And there's a lot that I need to learn and catch up with. And also, it gives everyone an opportunity to just observe, oh, I have certain strengths, I have certain weaknesses, like everyone else. And so, just embracing the fact that everyone is different, I think is encouraging and again, very humbling.
Right, then that being said, Nahre, give me one strength and one weakness for you.
I think my strength is to try really hard. And I'm not afraid to spend an enormous amount of time trying to figure something out. A weakness of mine is that I can get distracted very easily. And even while pursuing something, maybe that's why it takes me a long time to get to the root of something. I get, sidetracked a lot.
And how do you seek to overcome those distractions?
I have a lot of systems. I've talked about this on my YouTube channel. I try to keep my practice sessions and my work more organized using specific types of journaling, timers, things like that. But actually, at the root of it, it's really to just remind yourself in the morning, at the end of the day, what is my priority? And then I think that helps overall to keep myself focused.
Right, I'm sure, because Nahre, you are now a popular YouTube musician with well over 700,000 subscribers. What started your online endeavor, if I may, and how do you explain its popularity?
I started making videos about 8 years ago, and in the beginning, it was a way of documenting things that I was learning. I come from a classical piano performance background, and around that time, I was learning more about improvisation, different genres, and composing more. And so I just thought all of this is so interesting. I'd love to document my progress. I also have now 2 dogs, but at the time 1 dog that I just loved filming. And I think being part of this generation, not that much thought is put into creating a video. So, I wish I had a more elaborate answer, but I felt like making little videos, combining things that I do and things in my life that I love, like my dogs. And to answer your question about the popularity of the channel, I think over this amount of time, it didn't happen overnight. 8 years is quite a long time, and I've been making many, many videos during this period. I think just the fact that people watch the videos is an indication that there are that many people interested in the music that I play, that I talk about. So it's just really a gathering of people that love the same thing, I guess, and maybe around 700,000 for now have found each other and are excited about the same topics.
Right. Nahre, so not only do you play music, you also make music. And that being said, have you suffered from writer's block while seeking to write music? And if that is the case, what have you tried to do to better deal with it?
I deal with writer's block from time to time. I think it comes from putting a lot of weight into the quality and also the I guess, what your work is representing, like taking your work a bit seriously. So when I have writer's block, I really like to do a very low pressure activity, something like writing a little children's melody, or a couple years ago I wrote a duet for myself and my mom, and things like that, where I really focus on a small project that involves composition, that's fun, that has some meaning, that's not so serious. That usually helps me regain momentum.
Right. Nahre, what would you say have been some of your most perhaps rewarding moments as a musician?
I would say anything to do in person, maybe because I work so much in my own studio here, online. I just love it when I can meet people in person through teaching or performing, when I'm teaching students one-on-one or as a group, and I'm able to contribute to a little bit of progress in that moment. That really excites me. And also, if I'm performing, if I can really hear the silence in the room and just feel that people are listening and getting something from the music, that is so rewarding to me.
Nahre, is musical talent, in your opinion, of course, is it innate or can it be acquired?
I think you need both, honestly. I think.
What would the ratio be?
Oh, what would the ratio be? I would say 40% innate, 60% acquired.
And when you're actually teaching your students piano, do you see some kids with innate talent?
Yes, absolutely. Some students have a quicker sense of picking up things musically, with or anything, and their rate of progress is faster. That is one thing that can be universal across all subjects and fields. Some students musically have a strong intuition when it comes to listening to harmony, maybe improvising. Maybe they're more comfortable expressing themselves with more range. So it comes in various forms, but of course I can notice that some students have just a more natural inclination to be just better in a certain field.
Right, and the next 60% then has to be acquired. And if that is the reality, Nahre, how much practice would you say makes perfect in music?
I think when you are building up some of the fundamentals of technique at your instrument, whatever you do, consistent and also with high quantity, that sort of practice is necessary. Anywhere from, I don't know, 2 to 5 hours when you are younger, I think. Maybe not more than 4 to 5. I think after a certain number of hours, your mind starts to get slower, and also it's not so good physically. And then I think it shifts a bit after your younger years, because the way that you practice and what you're practicing for is a little different. A general answer might be practice however many hours is necessary for you to understand it enough so that you can teach it.
Nahre, your major in school was piano performance, and that being said, apart from practice, what else do you suppose is important to put on a good performance?
I think to have a vision of what you want to express is very important. You can really spend all your time, practicing your scales, perfecting each phrase, and making sure that you don't make any mistakes. But I think that is just the surface. That's really the building blocks of being able to play something on stage, perform anything. But in order to communicate to an audience, I think you have to really understand or have some sort of clarity about what it is you want to communicate with this music. What kinds of emotions you want to express, what kind of atmosphere do you want to create, and that's a very personal thing. It really depends on what music that you're playing, and I think it seems so obvious, but it's not really addressed as much, I think.
Right. Nahre, could you now share with us some perhaps simple habits that would allow for a greater sense of maybe productivity on a daily basis as a YouTuber, as a pianist, as a composer?
Sure. I think to find a method of organization or scheduling that you love, that you enjoy, is key. So there's so many calendars out there. You can use physical calendars. You can use apps on your phone. You can use journals. I use, a timer like this. There's so many things you can use, but it won't be effective if you don't use it on a daily basis. And if you like this thing that you use, it will help you. Other than that, to keep it simple also, I've been also caught in the trap of creating this really elaborate system of scheduling and organization in the past that was too much. So just having balance, keeping it simple and fun.
And talking about balance, Nahre, how do you seek to balance your work and life?
I don't know how to answer that question because I don't think I have that much balance. I am striving to protect some of my time for my personal life, to spend with family, also to focus on health as well. But it's not easy, and I don't put so much pressure on myself to have that part of my life perfect because sometimes, some periods of the year, I really don't have much time, and I have to buckle down and focus on work. And there are periods of time where my work is much light. That's the beauty and curse of being a freelancer, a musician. But I take advantage of those times to just focus on my life. So some people may see that as balance in the long term, but if you kind of look at my life on a daily basis, I don't think you would see much balance.
I see.
But that's okay, maybe.
And Nahre, that being said then, what is your schedule for this year like? Do you have a hectic schedule ahead of you, or are you able to get some rest this year?
I was actually able to get some rest in the recent months. This year, I am planning to focus a little more on performing, more on stage live. I also am working on some light film scoring, a short film, and I have a number of commissions for chamber music coming up, which I'm excited about. And of course, many videos, so it's, the normal.
Good to know. Nahre, if you're ever in Korea, we'd love it if you're able to drop by here personally.
Sure, I'm actually going to be in Korea in a few days.
Oh,
So,
lovely. Well, if we get to
yeah.
see you, it'd be great, Nahre.
All right.
All right, then thank you
It was a
so
pleasure
much.
to meet you.
Right, it has been a pleasure, Nahre. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts today.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Right, well, that brings us to the end of this week's editions of Issues and Insiders. Have a great weekend. See you same time next Monday.